Hello, everybody. Welcome to Score to Live. Michael Swisher sitting alongside Hall of Fame coach Randy Turney as we come to you from the Big House here on semifinal Friday. And, Coach, might as well wrap it up with a good one. I think we ended the first session with a heck of a ball game, and we ended the second session with a heck of a ball game. The Class A boys are going to be number one versus number two. I think we're in that with three of our four brackets, number one versus number two. But it was a nail-biter for everybody in Class A, as number one Frontier just prevailed over number four Ratan, 65-63 in overtime. And, Coach, it's not too many games where a kid hits two game winners. Connor Norman thought he hit one to end regulation, but he actually just tied the game. But he did actually hit the game winner near the buzzer to win it. But a heck of a ball game as Frontier survived Ratan.
Yeah, two just heavyweights going at each other. And, of course, we had just an outstanding performance from number 11, Bohannon, and number 20, Taylor from Ratan, two seniors that just carried their team on their shoulders. I think I marked down the first basket by another player was at 3:05 of the third quarter, and they scored they were 16 for 30 from the field and scored 53 out of the 63 points for Ratan. So you got to tip your hat to those two guys because they just carried their team about as far as they could. And then Taylor fouled out, in the game, and then 11. I thought Frontier that was kind of a turning point because they did a good job of denying him the ball and doubling him once 20 went out of the game.
Well, I said earlier, Norman thought he had two game winners. Let's kind of break down how that happened. With 7 seconds left, Tochi Taylor made a shot from the baseline down here. It was a called three-pointer from the start, but not a lot of people noticed it because on the scoreboard they initially gave it a 2-point shot, so it was 56-55 in a lot of people's minds, or 55-54, Ratan on top, but actually it was called a three-pointer. In watching the replay, the referee, Kent Williams, called it a three from the start, and it wasn't until a little bit later that they actually changed the scoreboard, but a lot of people hadn't noticed that. So they thought it was a one-point game. So with about 5.5 seconds left, Norman gets the inbounds, drives all the way down, gets off a tough shot in the lane, makes it, and he and Frontier, the fans and the kids go crazy thinking they won by a point. Well, actually, he just tied the game. So it does go into overtime despite all the boos from the Frontier fans. And they were not happy, and neither was Coach Weckstein. But as it turned out, everything happened correctly. It was, it looked like it was a three-pointer. The referee called it from the start. Everything was right. It does go into overtime. But then once we get into overtime, Norman gets it again towards the end, works for the final shot, gets the shot off, and wins it for his team. So as I said, two game winners seemingly in one game, but just a heck of a finish for that young man as well.
Yeah, he made two clutch baskets plus two big free throws.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about coming up big down toward the end. He did, and I thought number 2, Nolan Childs, really carried him. In the first part of the game, kind of kept him in the game, and he ended up with 24 points. So those two guys had 24 and 18, and really did a good job carrying the Frontier's offense.
And this is a game where Frontier trailed it most of the game. Ratan took the lead in the first quarter and really didn't let it go until the fourth. And you talked about Norman making some big shots. His team was down by a point there in the overtime, and he gets the three-point play with 45 seconds left before Ratan was able to take the lead back briefly. But again, Norman with the game winner. And, Coach, not a lot of times you see both teams shoot over 50%, but we had that tonight. Frontier shot 52.4% from the game. The Ratan Rams were exactly at 50-20 for 40. So just overall a pretty well-played ball game. There were a few turnovers here and there, but I mean it was a fun game to watch as well.
A lot of intensity, especially I think defensively. I think both teams were playing as hard as they could play, from start to finish. And I know both teams ought to sleep good tonight because if you want to watch two teams really compete, and they really competed hard against each other.
Absolutely. And one stat that maybe was the difference was the points off of turnovers. 25 for Frontier, 13 for Ratan. And so being able to take advantage of those turnovers that you do get is a big deal, and Frontier was able to do that. It will be number 1 versus number 2. As we said, Frontier will take on number 2 Fort Cobb Broxton in the championship game at 7:15 p.m. Saturday here at State Fair Arena. Fort Cobb, your 3-time defending state champions, had to go to the wire to win, but did just that as the Mustangs pull out the 50-49 win and got the last-second stop to preserve that win.
Yeah, and it was a lot like this game. Surreal had a big lead, I think about a 9 or 10 point lead in that game, and Fort Cobb went on an 8 or 9 point run and got it back within reach there, and and then held on at the end. But they had to earn it to get in the finals.
Yeah, as you said, Surreal comes out and scores 8 quick points to start the third quarter, and I believe all of those were from Dakin Rackley. He hit 2 threes and another bucket to put his team up by 10 points, but then they didn't score again until the fourth quarter as Fort Cobb went on about a 11-12-0 run to win that quarter there, retake the lead, but then the teams go back and forth. But it was Fort Cobb had to get that defensive stop at the end. They got it. A lot of Surreal fans and players and coaches thought there was a foul at the end. The officials didn't call the foul. So this is the two teams know each other well. They've played. This is now the third time. Fort Cobb won the first one handily. Surreal took them to overtime the second time, and then this one, of course, goes down to the wire. So, as I said, two teams that know each other well. Rackley scored 11 points for his team. Kason McLemore had 19 points, and he was hot early, hit some big threes early on, cooled off just a little bit, but 19 points for the Pirates. For Fort Cobb, I think you've got 4 players in double digits. Now, I thought Surreal did a really good job of containing Kellen Hines. We saw him go off for well over 20 yesterday. He was limited to just 10 points and really just never got his offense going.
Right. They were doubling him and trying to take that away. I really thought Surreal, of course, like you said, they played 3 times, so they know each other really well. They know each other's sets, and they did a good job taking him away. I think the big thing with Fort Cobb is, especially today, is the balanced scoring, like you mentioned, because all of them chipped in. And again, both teams were outstanding on defense. That's why the score was 50-49. That happens a lot when you played each other for 3 times. But it was just a really good game to watch as a fan. I know it's not fun when you're coaching a game like that, but these 2 Class A boys games are about as good as it gets.
It was freshman Tyson Eastwood. He finished with 10 points. He got what proved to be the game winner with about 35 seconds left before the Mustangs did get that defensive stop at the end. He finished with 10 points and a team-high 7 rebounds. Just a freshman guard there. An excellent game for him. Keston Mowdy led the team with 13 points, and Luke Lewis with 10 for the Mustangs. So again, number 1 versus number 2, 7:15 p.m. here at State Fair Arena for the Class A boys state title. It's the champs are the champs until you dethrone them. Can they get it done? Both teams have 6 titles to their trophy case. This is 2 proud programs. It's been a while since Frontier's been here, but Coach Weckstein's got his team back, and Fort Cobb, of course, going for 4 in a row. Coach, what do you see happening tomorrow?
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. You got 2 veteran coaches, like you said. They've been in this game before. In Fort Cobb, they're going for a 4-peat. They don't have a whole lot of guys that's played a big role in a championship game. They got a few, but they got some youngsters out there playing too. But and of course, you look at Frontier; they haven't been here in a while. So, I think whichever team can obviously come in and shoot the ball the best, because both teams are going to shoot the ball from the perimeter, and that's going to be the key. The team that shoots the ball from the 3-point line the best is going to win the game.
All right, so we'll see who it is. I noticed you didn't offer up a prediction there as to who was going to win it. I'll put you on the spot, and you say it's going to be?
Coach Hines and Coach Weckstein are really good friends of mine, so I'm going to pass on it.
That is a complete hedge right there, and took the easy way out. But before the tournament started, I picked Fort Cobb to win it. I really didn't know why, but I just kind of said, with Hines in there and them being the defending champs, I know the defense that they play. And Fort Cobb or Frontier going on the third day and being a team that can shoot it from the outside, but that third day sometimes that doesn't always fall. But we'll see how it goes. I'm still sticking with my pick. But
I'll double up and take the Mustangs too.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm going to Coach Weckstein is because my dad's from Fort Cobb.
Okay, so there you go. Way to go out there and take the Mustangs to win. Wow, really getting out there on the limb. Anyway, should be a fun one. 7:15 Saturday night. Hope you can be at State Fair Arena to watch it. If not, keep up with it on your Squirtle app, and we appreciate you joining us here on Squirtle Live.